Happy Friday. Happy Friday. Trying to get the light right. It's a little dark outside. I have to turn my light up a little bit. Here we go. Here we go. Yep, there we go. All right, plenty of light. Okay, so happy Friday. Today is the 17th day of December. This is the 60th episode of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. So it's a milestone day, episode 60. Yeah, it's a double milestone day, but we'll get to that in a second. So again, this is episode 60 of season 2 of the Be Your Own Hero show. Hero is an acronym. It means helping everyone reaps optimism. And a few other things. There's a few other things it means too, but we're focusing on helping everyone reaps optimism. In other words, it's a reciprocal action. You help others and you help yourself at the same time. That's the way it works. That's the law. I'm your host. I'm Sekouwrites. I am a professional creative and the creator of what we're now calling the Hero Ministry Movement. Say that 3 times fast. So that is my effort to uplift and inspire the unhoused community through a number of different means. Quick disclaimer, I'm not a personal trainer, nor am I a financial advisor, so do your own due diligence. Shout out to New Thought Media Network for providing me with this platform. Check them out at ntmedia.org to see the other programming on the network. It's always expanding. I saw that there were new shows on there this morning, so let me just put the banner up so you've got the website, ntmedia.org. You can see the other shows. You can also donate. All right. So while we're talking about other shows, just a reminder so that I don't forget later, there is no SIP today. There's no SIP with Reverend Melissa at 10:30 a.m. SIP is at night tonight. SIP is a meditation with the moon tonight at 11 p.m. Eastern time. So just a reminder, SIP is not at 10:30 a.m. It's at 11 p.m. tonight Eastern time. All right. So right after this show at 10:15 is prayer time. Okay, so now we got that out the way. My show, this show, the Be Your Own Hero show, airs Monday through Friday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern time. That's 8:45 a.m. Central, 7:45 a.m. Mountain. Okay, and if this show provides any value, please consider making a donation. The information is in the show notes just below. It's got my Cash App and other information like that. Okay, so Hero Ministry Movement news is pretty brief but exciting. I said it's a double milestone day because, yes, this is episode 60 of season 2. Oh, it's a triple milestone day. This is episode 60 of season 2. This is episode 140 overall. That's season 1 and season 2. And this is the 200th day of my run streak. Day 200. I've been running every single day, at least a mile a day since the first day of June. That's 200 days in a row. That's more than 6 months in a row. And it's very fitting that today is a rainy day. Got to make it more difficult for me. So it was rainy, and I'm actually drenched. You can't tell, but I'm drenched because I went running in the rain and I cut it kind of close. So I'm sitting here trying to dry off as I sit here. But I got it done, and I got tricky with the math. I wanted to make it symbolic in some way. So I ran exactly 2.22 miles in honor of the 200th day, which meant that I had to be very active as a runner. Like once I got to 2 miles, I had to keep pulling my phone out of my pocket and checking my distance and putting it back to keep it out of the rain and pulling it out and looking, because I wanted to get it exactly at 2.22. So I was able to accomplish that. I think I haven't even checked back, but I think I got it exactly right. Anyway, I will post the run report after the show. I didn't have time to do that before the show. So this is definitely going to be a free flow Friday. Okay, so all that said, I'm very excited that this is day 200. I got to figure out a way to celebrate. And now that I've gone so far, I think I'm going to celebrate on the 100 days. I didn't really celebrate. Did I celebrate? I must have done something on day 100. I remember I was very excited about it. It happened in Nashville, and I was super excited because I was blown away. And so this is day 200. And if I make it to day 300, there's definitely going to be some kind of celebration somewhere. So stay tuned for that. Okay, so last thing about the run, I use this app called Strava. And if you've been following the show, you heard me talk about the fact that the men in Black Men Run have been suggesting that I use Strava. And I was like, I don't need that. The phone has a built-in pedometer Why do I need an extra app? And I finally got it. And oh my goodness, I'm glad I got it. It's so aware. That's the best word for it. It's aware. Like it's always keeping track of where you are, and also it keeps track of how you're doing in relationship to other what I call ghost runners. These are runners that are not there with you in real time, but they're runners that have run the same route within the past 90 days. So it keeps a record of how many people have run the route that you're running within the last 90 days. And if you're the person who has run that route the most, you become the local legend. And I'm very excited to report that I'm the local legend in 3 different cities. This is new information to me. I was like, what? Local legend is a crown and everything. And so now I'm actively looking for routes that I can run often, that I can become a local legend in more places. So the point of me telling this story is it gamifies the exercise experience. So if you're having difficulty getting off the couch, getting out and doing something, you might want to check out the Strava app because it automatically gamifies the experience. So it's you playing a game against yourself and against others, these ghost runners that you may never meet. So check out the app. That's just a plug for the app because I think it's kind of fun. That's not a paid plug or anything. I just think it's kind of cool. Okay, so I said already this is going to be a free flow Friday. I'm not really sure what we're going to talk about, but there were a few things that happened during the week that I wanted to circle back to. First of all, shout out to the folks in the chat, the heroes in the chat. Shout out to Nan. I appreciate you checking in. I see we're getting some error messages from some of the feeds, so I hope that corrects itself and some more people are able to log in. Okay, so I'm going to do the affirmation and then I'm going to freestyle a little bit. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong thing. Sorry. Here we go. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. I am so happy and grateful to be a multimillionaire in every area of my life. Okay. So I want to do that affirmation every day so that it gets ingrained in our systems that whenever something out there in the world pinches us, we have that affirmation to go back to. It's a very strongly worded affirmation. It's in present tense. And if you can remember to feel happy and to feel grateful, the affirmation will work even better. Okay, so this is the beginning of the Free Flow Friday. And thanks for that name, Nan. You're the person that named Free Flow Friday. Okay, so reminder, I've been doing this all week and I think I'm going to keep doing it. Poor people spend, the middle class saves, but the wealthy invests. So if you're spending and if you're saving, shift yourself over to investing, have an investing mindset. So that's just an ongoing reminder for all of us. Okay, so I want to share with you a photo because I mentioned this a couple of days ago. I said, oh, I'm trying to get this photo up, and then I didn't show the photo. So I'm going to get all the things that I usually forget out the way early. So I want to share with you a photo of a man who I've referenced often. So he is a part of the group Black Men Run. And when I met him, I had just learned about the idea of a run streak from this group. I'd never heard of a run streak before. And I just heard about the existence of this thing called a run streak. And he was casually talking about his run streak. And I was like, what day are you on? And I swear, just as easy as nothing. He was like, 900 and something. I was like, 900 and something? That's easy math. That's 3 years. Like, what? He was like, yeah, 3+ years. So he just crossed his own threshold. His milestone day was 1,200 days. And I just want to show you what his before and after pictures look like because he started running to get himself healthy. And he's been able to do that over the course of running 1,200 days without stopping. And obviously, he's added more and more to his regimen as his body is able to handle it. But this is his before and after photo. Shocking, right? Shocking. It doesn't even look like the same person, does it? But that's the transformation that he was able to make just by choosing to run a mile a day, every single day. And now it's been 1200 days. So shout out to Antoine. You continue to be an inspiration to me. I remember what day was it? I think, oh, I was celebrating having done 8 5Ks in a row. And Antoine commented something like, it's only like 300 to go. Like something, the math added up to 365. And I was like, all right, man. All right. But then he's done it. So it's hard to complain to somebody who has done it. Right. And he wasn't like an Olympian or anything. He was just a guy who decided that he was going to do it. So he continues to be an inspiration to me. Okay. So that's one thing that I've been forgetting to say. And then as an add-on to that, I just want to say that we should all surround ourselves with people that inspire us to do more. Because when we stay too ensconced in our usual social circle, we will find that there's not anyone in that social circle that's inspiring us to do more. Usually we have to go outside of our social circle and create a new group to interface with people that inspire us to do more. So I already feel inspired to do more now that I'm back in Nashville, back in the circle of the Black Men Run group. Okay, so moving on. I also got a comment yesterday about the books that I mentioned yesterday, and I still need to do my morning Zen segment. But here are the books that I mentioned yesterday. There they go: The 30-Day Mental Diet and Mind Hacking Happiness. The 30-Day Mental Diet, if you've been watching my show or Rev Melissa's show, you've heard a lot about that one. Rev Mel is doing a class starting in January. Here's that information. 30-Day Mental Diet class starts in 2022. And there's all the information down there at the bottom. You can register at rocklandcsl.org. So she's done that class many times. I've participated many times. It's different every time because you're different every time, even though the pages are the same. And let's be honest, sometimes you read something, but it didn't really stick because you were thinking about the last thing, or you were distracted, or any number of things. It just didn't resonate with you. So when you reread the book, you get more out of it. So I can't recommend that book enough. I try to read a little bit of it every day. And Mind Hacking Happiness, I just discovered by accident. If you have been following my run reports, you know that I post them on TikTok first. That's a new platform for me. But I post all my run reports on TikTok first, and then I post them to the other places. And I believe this was suggested to me because it's similar content. So Mind Hacking Happiness was suggested to me on TikTok, and I downloaded the sample and I read it, and it's been very powerful. The idea is simply that here is a computer science geek who early in life attained everything that he wanted to attain. And then he was like, wait, I'm not happy. Why am I not happy? And so he applied his computer science learning to deconstructing happiness and figuring out how to explain it to himself and how to explain it to other people. And apparently this is going very well for him. So that's the second book, Mind Hacking Happiness. Okay, so I wanted to talk about that. And I haven't done my morning pages yet. I haven't decided what to call this section yet, but I called it on my phone, on my device, morning pages. So that's what I do in the morning. Well, part of it is called morning pages. It's really my morning practice, but that's reading, writing, prayer, meditation, and is that it? Yeah, I think that's it. That's everything. So the writing portion of my morning practice is called morning pages. So maybe I'll just call this morning pages for the purposes of the show. Anyway, today's morning pages. Let me find what I was talking about. It's on my phone, right? So a couple things that I read today really, really stood out to me. I swear I transferred this. Yeah. So I love it when one book dovetails nicely with another book, because for me, it gives me the very strong sense that this is all, what's the right word to use? That there are specific rules that work if you work them. Meaning, if you read a number of different people in this space of new thought in this space of mind hacking, you will find the same thoughts repeated over and over again in different forms, which gives the clear impression that there is a way, there is a concrete, definable way. So that said, I want to read a couple things. So this one is actually from the 30-day mental diet. The longer a sustained adverse mental reaction is maintained, the more severe will become the body's reaction. The longer a sustained adverse mental reaction is maintained, the more severe will become the body's reaction. So that really puts a pin in the idea of the connection between the mind and the body. And we know that that connection exists, but we often forget. But it's easy to remember when all you have to do is think about a favorite food long enough and your mouth starts to water. Or you can start to reach for it and your mouth starts to water in anticipation. Like there's a clear connection between the mind and the body. But sometimes we forget to apply that in the negative sense. That, yeah, you could have a mental reaction to something that is bad, that is poor. And if you hold on to that negative mental attitude, it can and will affect your health. Okay, so that's from the 30-day mental diet today. And this is from Mind Hacking Happiness today. Happiness comes from within our minds and no other place. But all the stuff that blocks our happiness also comes from within our minds. So that's a really good one too, right? It's all within. It's all within. It's all within. It's all our own choices and our own reactions. And that reminds me of the third thing I read this morning, which is from the Dalai Lama. As I said, I read a daily devotional from the Dalai Lama every morning too. And it said, one's pain is one's own creation. One's pain is one's own creation. It's your own creation. So whether or not one suffers pain depends upon how one responds to a given situation. Whether or not one suffers pain depends upon how one responds to a given situation. Which reminds me of this other quote, that pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. Like life is going to happen. Things are going to be inconvenient. Things are going to happen, but your choice, how you respond, is entirely up to you. And as I was running, I was listening to Andrew Carnegie, and he was a philosopher, multimillionaire, a number of things around the era of Rockefeller. And he was talking about how annoyance, being annoyed, is often a result of poor eating habits. And so again, we're talking about the connection between mind and body. So that what I just listened to while I was running reminds me of what I'm reading here now in terms of the 30-day mental diet. A sustained mental negative reaction will become the body's reaction. So a lot to think about, a lot to unpack there. And I know that because I did 3 or 4 things, it might be hard to remember. So the one that I want you to remember the most is that happiness comes from within our minds, but all the stuff that blocks happiness also comes from within our own minds, which is to say that it is a choice. We decide. We decide. So that was my morning practice and continued into my running practice this morning. Okay, so I wanted to talk about that for a second, and I wanted to circle back to something I said maybe yesterday, maybe the day before. So this was about the revenue streams. I found that very interesting because there's so many different revenue streams, and something occurred to me while I was reading the revenue streams here that I wanted to circle back to. So just to recap, these are not by any stretch of the imagination all the revenue streams, but just to recap the idea is that the average millionaire has at least 7 different streams of revenue. And so the idea is for us all to create multiple streams of revenue, not to just rely on one, especially not just relying on earned income. But regardless of what the one is, don't rely on one, create multiple streams of revenue. And the ones that were suggested in this source that I used for the show were these. So earned income or wages, dividend income, profit income, royalty income, capital gains income, interest income, and rental income. What occurred to me as I was reading that list the other day is that all of us can have royalty income. Let me rephrase. All of us can have all of these types of income, but in terms of ease of wrapping your mind around things that might be new, earned income is a given. We're all familiar with that. So there's no stretch there. Royalty income, I feel like, is a very easy one to grasp. And dividend income, also a very easy one to grasp. We've talked about dividends from stocks quite a bit here, so that should be very familiar to us all. Dividend income, pretty easy. But royalty income, so I'm an artist, so this stood out to me. And the barriers to publishing a book have fallen and fallen and fallen as I've become an artist. Like I've watched this happen because I've been an author for a long time. So I remember when you had to go through a certain process, you had to get an agent, like the publishing company wouldn't even talk to you if you didn't have an agent. I've got a whole story about that. And now you don't need anything. Now you can just publish a book on your own in a day. And it'll be listed on Amazon. Like it'll have worldwide distribution. So the barriers to entry have reduced themselves to nothing. The only barrier to entry is your own work ethic. And so as I was talking about royalty income the other day, I thought all of us really should have a book. There's no reason that all of us shouldn't have a book, because not only does it give you another revenue stream, very important, but the barriers to entry are very low. So if you're someone that takes notes a lot, if you're someone that notices stories, if you're someone that has stories to tell, like, and I feel like these are things that apply to all of us. Like you could easily create your own book. I've seen books on Amazon that are maybe 30, 40 pages. And obviously they're not very expensive books, like books that are like maybe 99 cents or so. But it doesn't matter. They've got a book on Amazon. So it's really just about compiling information that is of interest to you and putting the book out. So I feel like I wanted to just promote that and give everybody the idea that in 2022, you should have a book. You should have a book because you will have another revenue stream. And you know, whether it sells or not is a thought for down the line. If you have it, anything can happen. Oh, you know what that just made me think of? It just made me think of Amanda Gorman. Amanda Gorman was the young Black woman who did spoken word at one of the inaugurations recently. And she already had books out on Amazon that were kind of just there. But after her appearance at the inauguration, those books became bestsellers, right? So the revenue stream was already in place. And then her new fame made them sell. So you never know what might happen to you is the point in terms of fame, in terms of success. You just never know. So better to have the revenue stream already set up and then it can just get bigger, right? As opposed to, excuse me, if Amanda Gorman had done the inauguration and then been trying to create a book really quickly to take advantage of her success. Oh, my alarm's already going off. Okay, all right, I'm gonna finish that thought. So I would suggest, in terms of us thinking about revenue streams, we've been talking a lot about stock. I will continue to talk about stocks and cryptocurrency as it relates to stocks. But I would highly recommend all of us create a book. Like all of us have interests. All of us have things that we have anecdotal knowledge about. Create a book, put it on Amazon. You just never know. You never know how that might come of interest to someone else. All right, so the alarm went off. Let me start winding this down. I wanted to talk about that. And let's see. Oh, there was another comment I wanted to talk about also. So there was a comment about savings, about how someone was a child. I can't remember who now, but someone was a child and her parents encouraged her to save money and then buy a big thing. I think it was a saxophone. And I was raised in much the same way, and probably all of us are, right? All of us were. And so the invitation that I'm making now, because of this show, because of this new journey of information about wealth, is to make a pivot. Like, I think the idea is save the money up, right? That's still intact. That idea is still intact. Save the money up. But instead of buying a saxophone or some treat or a vacation, as in my friend's case, use that money to buy an asset. Like, let's just keep it to the stock market. Use that money to invest in the stock market. Because then if you waited a long time to save up that money to buy the thing. But if you can wait a little longer and invest that money, then the money itself will enable you to buy the thing. Now, I know that sounded confusing. So I'm going to use an example that I heard recently. This is an actual example. So there was a guy who wanted to buy a car. Let's just say it was a BMW. He wanted to buy a car, brand new BMW. He saved up the money to buy the BMW, but instead of buying it, he invested the money in the stock market. And he kept driving his old clunker. But then a few years from then, I can't remember how many years, but a few years from then, that money that he set aside in the stock market was paying enough dividends to cover the car note for the BMW. So then he went and got the BMW, but he doesn't have to pay out of his wages for the car note. The car note is being paid by the dividend from the money that he set aside, right? And so he keeps contributing to the principal that's set aside. And so it's covering the car note first, and then it's covering the car note plus a little, plus a little, plus a little. It got to the point where now that money set aside is generating enough dividends that it can pay a bigger car note. So he can get a bigger car. So the idea that we're making a pivot to is not saving up to buy the thing. The idea is saving up to invest and let the investment buy the thing. Let the assets pay for the things we want, which is a mind shift for sure. But that's where we need to be, and that's where we should teach our children to be, teach the young people around us to be. For Christmas is right around the corner. We should be encouraging young people to get stocks, get investments, to understand that whatever money they get for Christmas, they shouldn't go and buy the brand new pair of sneakers that they might not even wear the following Christmas, but use the money to invest, and then sooner or later they'll be able to buy all the sneakers that they want without even touching the principle of what they set aside. So, all right. So I blew my time on that, but I wanted to talk about that anyway. I guess the last thing I'll say, which I don't even have time to really talk about, is Adidas is launching its NFT today. Adidas, huge sneaker company. They're dropping their NFT today. It's supposed to be around $800 per thing. I'm not sure what the thing is, but people have been talking about it. It is something that I plan to watch and see what happens, because it's interesting that such a big company is getting involved in the NFT market. Okay, there was one more thing I wanted to talk about. I just have to make it the first thing I talk about on Monday. Reminder, there is no Sit with Rev Melissa today at 10:30. There is Sit with Rev Melissa tonight at 11 p.m. And tune in for Living Life in Joy on Sunday. Rev Melissa will be having a surprise guest, and you'll see me here again on Monday, 9:45 a.m. Eastern. So till then, keep doing, be a hero. If you have questions, if I missed something, drop it in the chat. I will check the chat notes as soon as I close the show. So keep doing, be a hero, be your own hero. Remember that now is better than perfect, and I will see you on Monday. Later.